Hi, I'm Neha, the older, quieter sister.
Hey, I'm Nidhi, the younger, chattier one. Welcome to our podcast, Chocolate and Spice, Two Brown Women Talk. And this is our little corner of internet where we unpack life one conversation at a time.
This is where the two of us share stories and learnings through our unique lenses of introversion and extroversion. We both have many things in common.
We are sisters, moms to boys.
We're first generation immigrants, career techies, and in our 40s.
Not really. We're not in our 40s yet, but we are also 180-degree opposite in how we think and talk about any topic. So, in this first episode, let's dive in topic we thought might begin to explain why we are so different. So, let's take it away.
Yeah, today's topic is same household, different childhoods. It's a tough one and not easy to talk about, to be honest. I guess I can start seeing as I'm older than you by 4 years. Weirdly, there is one photo I do remember. I must have been five, and you must have been a few months or so. And we're in the backyard of our then home in India, and there are these beautiful hibiscus plants around us. Mom's looking beautiful, and she's standing there holding you in her arms. You're obviously a very cute baby. I have a large hibiscus flower in my hair, and I'm wearing this frumpy night dress. And I'm looking up at both of you, and I think almost jealous because I see her holding you so close and so lovingly. And actually, I'm not very sure if I was jealous, but I have a feeling I must have been because I was a single child for so long.
Only thing that I remember from that young age is that I was always jealous. You were that perfect elder daughter. And even though I got so much attention, I just couldn't tolerate attention not on me. So that is the kind of kid I was. So there were like so many instances like you were always very thoughtful. You would make like a card for every festival possible, Holi, Diwali, New Year, and let's just say I was not that thoughtful. But when I would see you create something so beautiful, I would like get so jealous because they would appreciate it, and I would go in the room and I would make something half decent and I would bring it to them and they will still appreciate it, and I would like, oh, see, I got you. So that was the feeling that I had. It was a lot of rivalry, a lot of competition for unknown reasons. Now, looking back, I don't know why I felt that way, but yeah, it was dark and twisted. That's all I can say.
It's hilarious the way you say it because I think I must have been angry with you at some point, and I'm pretty. I kind of remember I used to be angry with you, and the way I would handle that is by with a lot of internalization of that negative self-talk because I just didn't know if I could go to our parents and say, "Oh, why are you loving Nidhi more?" And you don't love me. Like I was not social and extrovert enough to ever really talk about my feelings. So I probably just internalized and just kept getting angry and angrier. But I will say, like, there was a time, like, maybe it's rose tinted glasses for me now, but at some point, maybe towards high school to middle school, I realized, like, you're the kid of the family. And I totally, since then, I think I still think of you as the kid of the family. And, like, you've probably seen me
I
trying to
certainly
give
behave like one, but yeah, sure.
I try to give you big sisterly advice. And, for me, very, or like maybe by high school, it was less about competition and more about how can I make sure you do well in your life. So that was really interesting. By the way, do you think our birth order impacted, how we behave then and now, and how our personalities ended up shaping?
Yeah, I think 100%. Like we were born different, like born with different personalities, but birth order certainly did make an impact. Like you were born during the time when our parents weren't very financially stable. But by the time I came around, they were socially, emotionally stable. So with you, they certainly made that first child mistakes. And by the time I came along, they learned a lot from that. And then they corrected those mistakes and they were more patient. They had a different approach to parenting. And for example, like when you were, I don't even know, like 4 years old, I don't know why you did kindergarten at 4, but whatever, you joined a school, you were put in a school that was around an hour away. And like as a parent, I have no right to judge a parent. That is our parents. But like that thought, it must have taken a lot from ma and papa to put you in a school that far away when you were so little. But that mustn't have impacted you well. Like that must be so hard. Like when I think of a 4-year-old going on a bus alone to a far away school, doing everything, that must be hard. But for me, it was you were the example. Like you were setting the example. The grounds were different for you. The level set for you was different. So for me, it was more like I'm just gonna check out the vibe and just go with the flow. I was that kind of a kid. That was also my personality. I was just a, a happier child, and I don't know if I was born happy that way, or it because by the time I came around, things were so comfortable for me, and the pressure was so off me that I could just be myself. I just didn't think about it. But tell me about your pressure. Like, do you remember any pressure back then, even when you were little?
Yeah. No, first I have to like commend you on your introspection, because you keep saying you're not introspective, but this is an amazing thinking back and try to analyze how not only you were and why you are what you are, but how I was and how and why I am what I am, which is super interesting because I've tried to block certain parts of my life. I think that's a very, an introverted technique. And so I don't even think about what the impact might have been if I went to school one. Like I always thought like it's a sense of pride. I thought, wait, I was 4 years old and I used to go travel 1 hour to 2 hours every day just to go to school. And I thought, look how great I was. But I never realized like it could have also made me even more quieter, or just like, I don't know what else. So it's hard to say. But I do agree that we were born different. Like I think that's a ballpark. Like definitely we were born different, because my personality since the day I was born was very different from the day you were born, because I kind of remember your personality. You were always a very vocal child. I remember because I used to be so mad at you. I remember like when I was 5 or 6 years old, you'd be like screaming at the top of your lungs if you wanted something, you would be crying. And like, I don't think anybody had the courage to say no to you, even when you were a toddler. And I remember my mummy talks about me when I was a toddler, and she says that, like they used to live in this one room house, and the what do you call that? The gas or their cooking area was on the ground or something. And imagine I was a toddler and baby, and I was so quiet that not only would I not touch anything that I shouldn't touch, I wouldn't cry, I wouldn't even talk, and I would apparently just like hold my hands like by myself and just walk around thinking. I have no idea what I was thinking, but that's how quiet I was. And I think mommy used to worry that I should talk and I should communicate, like even back then. And I think that continued. Like it took me a really, really long time before I began opening up. And my first memory of opening up was with you, actually. So it's interesting when you talk about, this jealousy and anger, because for me, the moment I realized you're the kid sister, you became almost like the person I unloaded all my problems. So I sometimes worried like I shouldn't do that to a
Don't
person
worry,
younger than
I
me.
don't remember any of that.
That's good. That's good. No negative impact of my problems on you then. Um, but I really love, like for me, what I really love about you is that you had no self doubt. I think you were born without self doubt.
Yeah.
You were sure of what you wanted. You were sure you're going to get it, and there was no stopping you. And you wanted to get something, not because you wanted like some great validation. You did attempt to get validation, but not because it would have influenced you one way or the other. If you didn't get validation, you were happy. If you got it, you were happy. In my case, I felt like I had so much going on. I always wanted validation because I did not validate myself. So there's a big difference. And that's why like I truly appreciate about you. And sometimes I get jealous. I'm like, you have it so effortless. Like you're so cool. And I'm like, I try so hard.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it was born that way or something triggered in the childhood. But even when I was like growing up, I never had this feeling to be the best. Like you are naturally gifted. Like let's be honest. Like you were no, I mean, I know it's there's humility. I know you will try to be humble, but you were always good at everything. Like you were good at academics. You always got good grades. You went to singing class, you became at the top of the class. You went to dancing class, you were a great dancer. You went to art class, you were so good at all of that. And mummy tried to do the same thing with me. None of them worked. My singing teacher was like, let's just do 1 year and let's keep it not going. And dance teaching was like, she doesn't have a skill to be a dancer. And grades were like, on and off. I was fine. Wasn't ever too great. So, and I don't know why, but I was okay with being not the topper. I don't know why, because growing up, it was never in our society, if you remember, you have to be academically so good. And I think that was because you were so good. There was a moment in time when I understood that comparison is not going to help. Like I will never be as good academically as you, or what are the other things. So I was like, all right. So when I look back, I think I had this like self-awareness that I have to be good at something else. And that means maybe I have to find joy in friends. I would like flirting and going after boys was not your thing. Even when I was like teenager, I was like, oh, I like this kind of a life. There was joy in like biking around, talking to friends, being naughty with them, crank calling random people. All of those things just made me happy. And I just took that path. But like as far as us being friends is concerned, like from the very early childhood, I think you were still the perfect person. But as we got older and we were around, I was like 10 or 11 and you were, I don't know, 14, 15. And the first thing, we are on a podcast, but I'll still say it, was when I really started admiring you is when you started becoming a woman and you had breasts. And I was like, oh my God, look at my sister. She's so beautiful. You are a grown woman. And I was obviously very little at that time. And I was like, oh my God, she's so cool. And that was the time you started having those canvas of like Cindy Crawford and all those models and all those beautiful outfits. If you remember, you had it in the room and you had this big chart paper, and I would look at it and I was like, oh my goodness, this is what, teenagers look like. And that is when I started like being so interested in everything you did. It was like, oh wow, she is perfect. She has a sense of style, and you would wear those outfits that fit you to a T because you had this body. And I always had like a very boyish body, especially then. And then you would also, and if you remember, Papa used to bring a lot of English movies. Like he used to bring like Free Willy, Richie Rich, Titanic. And you used to help me understand those movies. I was so young. Half of the things I had like no clue what was going on, especially in Titanic. I don't know if you remember, Papa would always tell us to go get some water whenever some intimate scene would come. But when the guy was painting the girl in that scene in Titanic, nobody knew what was going to happen. So we ended up watching that scene. And then later he told me, did you see that happening? And I was like, I have no clue what was happening. He was painting that female half naked. I don't know. And you explained it to me like whatever, a child will understand. But I was like, oh my gosh, she knows so much more and she's so much cooler. So, that was the age when I was like, oh my God, we are friends and I have somebody so cool to look up to. So, that was my realization.
I had no idea. I had honestly no idea that's how you thought. Because for me, you became a friend the moment, I think by the time you were like 10 and I was 14, I was sure you were one of my friends because anyway, I had very few friends. I was like such a major introvert. I think in all my childhood, I had probably one or two people I would have counted as my friend my age. And so I decided you were going to be my real friend. And so from starting at that age, I would share everything I could possibly. And you know what? You are really good at pretending because I used to think everything I share, and somehow in my mind, I was like scared, like, should I tell this to a 10-year-old? But your face was either a mask or like you did a great job acting because I thought you're really absorbing it and we are communicating and we are talking at the same level. So I think, so I was never afraid to share whatever I thought. Like I remember like when your period started, because when my period started, it was traumatic for me. It was really traumatic for me because it started so early for me. And it started very early for you as well. But then I was much older. And so for me to be able to tell you, like, don't worry, it's okay, because by that time I was educated about periods. So it felt like a very natural thing. Plus, you had already seen me going through period, right? Like you already knew.
I used to look at the ads, remember? I used to be like, what is that? And I knew what it was, but unless it happens to you, you don't know what it is, right? So,
Exactly. But while one part of my brain always worried, like, am I negatively influencing? By the time I realized, like, you'd grown up, I was like, no, maybe this has been good. And so, to your point, yeah, I feel like the advantage of being a younger sister is that you get to learn from the experiences, bad or good, of the older sibling, and that, because I really wanted to share with you, and I really did share with you, I feel like maybe you gained. But for me, the biggest gain was I had a willing ear to listen, because otherwise, the introverted person that I was, I didn't know how much worse it would have been for me. Maybe I would have been, I don't know, I don't want to call it like I was not a sad person, but I had so much self-doubt. It's incredible. Like, what I like about you is you have backbone. You always had backbone. And that's what I didn't have. Like, I know you said I was good at this and I was good at that. Maybe I was, but one word from somebody negative would have like spiraled me into some weird series of self-doubts, and that would have been the end of it. So
It's so funny that you say that, but it's the thing is, I don't know. Again, I hope there's some research around it. If people are like born that way, but in my mind, even now, I'm a grown woman. Even at work, when somebody says no, in my mind, it's not yet. No is not a word I hear. And even now, I'm telling you, I'm talking to some stakeholders and they don't want an idea I'm presenting, whatever it is, and they've said no. And I'm like, oh, they mean not yet. So I'm going to go back to them in a week and I'll present it, I'll twist it in a different way. And they'll say yes, because no is not a word that, I don't know, I just have hard comprehending that word.
love it. Like, that's why, like, definitely different personalities. And I'm not a pessimist by any stretch. You've seen, like,
Yeah.
I try everything that could be tried. But you are like an optimist, like supreme optimist. And I know you used to cover that by saying, "Oh, I'm overconfident." There is no such thing, right? There is no such thing. As long as you're not arrogant and you're not like repeating the same mistakes again and again, you're just confident. You just know what you want and you go for it. And the thing you reminded me about was the collage, like the chart paper that we used to make. And it's so funny. I was talking with my husband about it yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I was always the person who used to make vision boards. Like, from the time I turned 11 or 12, I was like, I have a vision for my life, and I'm going to show the vision. Like, I'm going to start creating the vision for my life. So that's why I used to always have these chart papers with all these photographs. And I'm so grateful that so many of those visions that I had as a 12-year-old have come true. And like
It's
yesterday,
true.
I was truly
Yeah.
sitting and introspecting, and I thought to myself, how did that even happen? And I mean, like, I'm gonna get teary eyed even thinking
Well,
about it.
you coined the term vision board like 20 years back, and now it's the cool thing where everybody's creating vision board, right? So
I know, but thank you for reducing my age by 10 years. It was 30 years back. I keep forgetting which era we live in.
yeah.
um but yeah, no, I think we were very good friends, probably because you're also so different. And
Yeah.
so once we understood each other and started empathizing, we kind of learned from each other, which is the coolest thing about being introverted and extroverted in the same household. I do wonder, like, who protected who. Like, I know I'm supposed to be the older sister and I'm supposed to be protecting you, but I kind of think like that was not the case. I don't know.
It was like you were always very, very kind. Like even though I was mean to you like so many times. I would like physically hit you and do a, a lot of things. But like as a child, whatever it was, I wasn't very kind. But you were like always kind, helping me with my homework, helping me write something, even though I would like steal your essays and pass it as my own. But as far as like protecting thing, I think I was more of a protective person. Like I don't know if possessive is the right word, but like I remember a few times when some of your friends would say something negative about you or bully you or say something that was just unkind, and I would like, how dare you say something like that to my sister? She's my sister. You cannot say just such a mean thing. And you would feel bad because you would tell me, and those are the things I remember, like you telling me. I wouldn't remember. So there are few things that I do remember, but you would come back home and you would say, this person said bad thing about me, and I would like boil with anger because I was like, how dare they, why didn't you say something? And yeah, I was more of bold, if that's a word. And one instance specifically, if you remember, when we were living in Koilanagar as kids, and we both were walking to somewhere, and there were some guys like eve teasing us or something. And that was a time I was like, I stood there, and that was not the norm at that time. We were not told to speak up. We were always told to like keep your mouth shut, protect yourself, and just walk away. But even at that time, they said something about you. I was still a child. I mean, nobody was eve teasing me. And you were a grown woman at that time, like 14, 15. And there were some guys who said something. They were on a bike, and I was like, I know who your parents are, and I'm going to go and complain. And I said that, and you were like, oh my God, Nidhi, that was so nice of you. You said that. And I'm like, how dare they say something? So to your question, like who protected whom in these kinds of street smart thing, I think I was more of a protector. But when it came to home and when my grades were bad, you were the one protecting me from Ma. And you were like, Ma, she'll be fine. It's like, look at how poorly she did in her math. It's like, Ma, don't worry, she'll be fine.
No, so true, so true. You always have had that kind of courage, like physical courage, and also, like sort of the ability to stand up for yourself and for others, like very visibly. I was always very timid. I may not have been timid inside the house. I think I was even timid inside the house, but outside the house, I was like even more timid. And to me, it was shocking. A child who's walking with me, her ability to stand for herself, say whatever she wants. Like, I was in awe. I'm like, I still cannot do it. And I know you just did it because nobody taught you that. Mummy never told you, like, this is how you should behave when you encounter this. It came from within. To me, it never came from within. I had to do so much learning and unlearning before I was able to like even look into the eyes of somebody who's bullying me and say something. Even today, like sometimes I'll get unnerved. But I think like it all comes down to one personality, and also the fact that I did a lot of things to get validation. And weirdly enough, like I felt like if I do this, I'll be loved. If I don't do this, weirdly enough, I will not be loved. Like, why think like that? And I don't think you ever thought like that, which is the most amazing strength you have, which is I don't care if others don't love me. I love myself good enough. You were born with that. So
it's also the company. I think Millie is getting really excited listening to us speak so much. But so it is also the company we kept as kids. So I was surrounded by, like, I remember when we were in Carmel school, I was surrounded by girls in my class who were very outspoken, who were outrageous, who were bold. And I was like 1/4 of what they were. So I saw, they set an example for me. And I think I learned a little bit from them. So it's also a matter of luck. Like a lot of things that form us,
100%.
our personality is so much luck. Like I just had this luck or a chance to be surrounded by females in that all girls school who were just different, who just showed me by example. And maybe growing up, you did not have that, or you did not interact with those kind of people that kind of showed you that this is possible. Because if it occurred to me to do it, it didn't. There has to be a reason, because certainly our parents didn't teach us that. So
100%, 100%. And in fact, that brings me to like, that makes me wonder often. We are two sisters, right? Like we don't have brothers. And growing up when we did, what was that, 80s, 90s, having a son was almost like given. You have to have a son, and we are only two sisters. And so I wonder, like, do you think that kind of impacted I know it impacted my behavior, but did it impact your behavior in any way?
like being girls in the family.
Being girls in the family and not having a brother or anything about that, like female only.
I mean, it was pretty obvious. So the thing about me is I filter out things I don't like. So even as growing up, when people said, oh, you don't look a certain way, or you don't have brothers, I'm pretty sure mummy had to hear that a lot growing up. So obviously we heard it, but I was so good at filtering. It was like, makes no sense to me. It's not relevant. I just filtered that out. For me, it's like, it is not worth thinking about. It is not worth my time. I'm going to go outside, go biking with my friends. I'm going to go play. So I wouldn't say that it impacted me, like not having a brother. I had a sister. For me, it was the same thing. I have a sibling. Like having a sibling was important at that time, because everybody around me, most people around us had sibling. But I don't think I really thought of not having a brother. Well, we never had a brother, so I don't know what it feels like to have a brother. But that was not even in my mind at all growing up.
Yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, I don't even look at it that way. Like, I don't, you often don't know what you're missing when you're
Yeah.
missing. Like, so I had no idea what it was to have a brother, and I didn't mind not having a brother. I was very happy with you. But for me, I definitely perceived a pressure. Maybe it was self-inflicted
Oh,
of
I see what you're saying. The pressure to,
of
okay, I
being
see.
the
I
son.
mean, for me, it was like no pressure. No.
Probably, yeah, that was a good thing because I
Yeah.
felt like somehow I internalized that there should have been a son in the family for our
Okay.
parents, and there was none. And so I need to be that son somehow. And it is a weird thing to say because I had absolutely zero freedom, right? Like any boy in India at that time would have got so many other freedom that I never had. Plus, I was super timid. But in my fantasy world, I thought like maybe if I overperform, I do everything right, I get a great job, like I may have filled the gap of there not being a son in the family. And I feel like I was obviously not a great son and nor a great daughter because like I kept focusing on studies and overperforming. And so I never did what a daughter in those days would have done, like learn how to cook. And again, I'm being very gender biased, but this
Yeah.
is from 80s and 90s. But I neither was like helping my mom do her chores, and she had so many, nor was I being this boy who could drive and go out with my dad and I don't know whatever else boys do. And so I was like somewhere in between. And I feel like that ate me up for a very long time. Only when I got my first job that I was like, oh, it's all good. I did get a job. I am an engineer. I got an engineering job. I think I did fine. And
But that
I
is a
started,
first child thing, Dee. I think that is, I don't know, we haven't talked to other people who are like two
true.
sisters, duplink, but I think that is the first child. You have all of this pressure to be the best as the first child because all the expectation from parents are from you. And I have seen this like when I was in doing my like bachelor's, and I had like three girls with me, and all of them were older sisters, and
Mhm.
they were so different from me, and they were all very good academically, and I even then I was the one pulling them, going out partying and doing all of that, and they were elder, and they had this pressure managing the family. Even at that time they had a sense that they had to pay back the parents or take care of the parents and take care of the sibling, like they all had like, oh, and I was like, I was a free bird. I was like, i have I have nothing to do. So but yeah, I think apart from just the boy not being a boy syndrome, I think it was also the elder child thing that you have.
100%. I think you're right. I think you're right. Like for every elder kid,
Mhm.
there's this additional thing of you are sort of almost like the experimental ground for your parents, but you're also supposed to be the one who holds everything together. So I think that played on me and still plays on me, to be honest. Like I know you do a lot of like pep talk for me, and you like do your thing, but it's gonna take me a while. It's hard.
Yeah, those are things. Those that will always be work in progress. I think those things are so inbuilt. Like what Siddharth, my husband, says. Like those things are so, you've spent so many years thinking about that so deeply that it's hard to just take it out and you know. There's no amount of therapy is going to help. I feel it just, you have to deal with it. You just have to have those tool toolkits in your toolbox to pull out some things when needed. That's how I think about it.
I agree. And I love that you use the word therapy because I think I've also used you as my therapist, which is going to sound super weird because you're younger than me. And I've been using you as a therapist since I was very young. So you've been my therapist for a very long time. And even today, like I feel like when something goes wrong, my first impulse is actually literally to call you. I'm like, let me see what she would have said because you're going to say something completely opposite of what I.
Completely opposite than what exactly this is what it's all about. Like every time it's like, yeah, I think we're going to get to the different topics in different podcasts, but like there's so many things even happening in our life right now, and we have totally different perspective, like totally different view about everything. So yeah.
Yeah, but I do wonder, like, in spite of us being so different, we ended up in kind of similar paths in that we both went for arranged marriage. We both ended up immigrating to US. We both ended up with the same degrees, like literally the same degrees. And I mean, having sons each is like obviously a
That's a
matter of
coincidence. But yeah.
coincidence, but I'm like, how did that happen? How did we have the same
I mean,
paths?
that is that we don't have to use a lot of brain in that. That was just that was the normal at that time. I mean, growing up, we could either be doctors or engineers, right? You were a perfect candidate to be either of one of them. You chose engineering. You did so well. Well, I just had no other option. Even though I was trying to say, I want to do law, I want to do something else. It was not even an option. I had to do engineering. And I somehow did it, like, however I did it. But then, as far as like marriage is concerned, we were not told to take risks growing up. Like that was not, we both got married when we were in early 20s. Like there wasn't a time to take risks, to be like really go out of the way or do something different. There was a path given to us. We're like, stay in your lane. This is your lane. We are providing you this. And I don't think we even had the maturity at that time, or kind of nobody has set an example for us to do something different. So I was like, all right, maybe this is the best we know and this is the best we have to do. So we
Yeah.
ended up like knowing our partners the way we do, and ended up getting married and moving to United States. I don't know if it's a coincidence. I'm certainly, I followed you, or it encouraged our parents to push me in the direction after you took a step. In their mind, they probably thought both the sisters will be at least be together at the same place, all of that. So I think it is a set of steps we took that made us end in a way, but I don't think any of that was intentional.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I think arranged marriage, by the way, is such a big topic. We should talk just on arranged marriage in our.
Different topic for a different day.
I know so many people have asked me here on how does it feel, but anyway, I'm going off topic. But I agree. Like I feel like for me, it was clear to me. I mean, arranged marriage is it, and so it was like no hesitation on my part. And I do think like I ended up influencing you because you thought like, well, this worked out, so it's probably going to work out for me as well. And then going to US, like I said, I had that vision board
Oh
back
yeah.
when I was
You
12.
have that in your vision board? I can't remember if it was there.
It's
Was it?
so funny because that's the thing I was talking with Ashish about yesterday, which is, you know what? One of the photos in my vision board was like a postcard. It had these fall leaves, which I now know are fall leaves, like those autumn leaves, and a tree lined beach. I clearly remember that. And at that time, I probably just loved the photo and I put it up there. I'm like, maybe one day I will see it. Right. And I don't know, like, I'm sure there are places in India that has that. But when I first landed in US, that that city had that, and I
Mhm.
just remember I'm like, I landed and I thought, this is it, this is where I'm living because this is what I have always wanted. And
It was
so
Chicago, right? You went in the
yeah,
fall.
yeah, it was,
Exactly.
yeah, like Midwest, beautiful fall leaves and all of that. And I'm like, I'm processing that I had wanted that maybe without even realizing it, and I got it. And so for me, it was always a really great decision to move here, and I was always happy. I was like, I love this place. And so I think I kind of may have talked about it a bunch with you in our phone calls. We used to have these weekly phone.
No, I don't think that had any impact. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure I filtered all of that out. I was so happy. The kind
God.
of person I am, I'm happy where I am. And I was so happy doing whatever I was doing in India and all of that. It just fell on my lap. Let's just put it that way. And then
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, all right, at that time, it was the best option in front of me. So I took it. I don't think at that time when you went to States, we didn't have like FaceTime, or we didn't even talk a lot at that time, right? I mean, it wasn't like, even when you had Aryan, it was for a very long time, there was not even a video or photo. I saw him for the first time when, he came here. So it was this thing, or the video, or the WhatsApp didn't exist. So I didn't feel that close to you when you moved away. So
Right.
you did not influence that decision of coming. It just happened. And since Mummy Appa saw that you were safe and happy and living your best life there, and they were like, all right, I think this is the best option.
Yeah.
So
And I'm so glad it happened because honestly, like, while I do say that I love this place, and, as immigrants, as first generation immigrants, it's a very hard thing to
yeah.
do, very hard thing to bring up a family with no support, right? We have got no support here.
No village of our
No
own.
village, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we have friends and we have, our relatives, but no like big family to lean on, and very different environment and all of that. And I'm so happy and I'm so grateful that you moved because I feel like I always feel like I have someone, I have somebody to lean on, and there was this sense of family even in a country that for longest time didn't really feel my own. And now, of course, it does feel my own. But I do think, like, for both of us now to bond in the way that we do, even just starting this podcast, right? Like, one of the reasons we started is because we talk about this thing that we're talking in podcasts all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a great place for us to share with anybody who's facing the same circumstances or going through something similar. It's like, sisterhood is such an important thing, whether we are born as sisters or whether you make sisterhood via friends and acquaintances. I think it is a great area to develop because you will always need somebody to lean on and somebody to learn from, and just some willing ears who don't judge you. And I think, like, that's what sisterhood is. So yeah, I'm just so
Yeah.
happy we're talking.
I know. Finally, I mean, we have been talking about this podcast for such a long time. You have been wanting to do it. We made it happen. I pushed the boys outside the house, so I had the house to myself so that we could record. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing we are doing that. I'm pretty sure some people will be able to connect with this, and we can take topics, we can take comments, we can make it our own, we can help people, we can be our own therapist,
Yeah,
mutual benefit. So that
yeah.
will be helpful. Last topic on how opposite we are. uh, we both saw Ma do makeup growing up, right? She would do makeup. You turned out to be just all natural, no makeup person, and for me mascara is a lifestyle. So it's like it's so different because we both saw, like, Ma didn't do very extensive makeup, but she did whatever at that time. She had a little foundation, little kajal or whatever. But like, how did I end up being so much into makeup? And now, seriously, mascara is like a normal everyday thing. And for you, I don't, the only time you put makeup was like 2 years back when I forced you to put some foundation on your skin and I put like the eyebrow thing, if you remember. So it's like,
It's horrible. I don't
but yeah.
I think, like, you know what? I have so many thoughts on this topic. Let's do a podcast just on
Okay. Okay.
dressing up and makeup because
Oh my-
I kid you not. I remember Mummy looking so beautiful with that kajal she used to put, and people used to compliment her. Not once did I get influenced. Not once did I think I should put a kajal or I should put anything on my face. And it's not like I thought of myself as this, this person who's just got everything. It just never clicked with me. And even today, like, when you keep trying, you've pushed things on me, like,
I've tried my hardest here.
what stuff. And I hoard them and then I just throw them. Sorry to say, like, I like.
That's why I stopped doing that. I mean, a year back, I realized that I don't think I should send you any skincare or any related product because that's your own thing, right? I mean,
Yeah,
as we get older, obviously we get choosier on what we put on our face and skin. But yeah, that was never your thing. Even when you got married, I specifically remember that day when the art makeup artist came and she put things on your face and you were like so mad. You were so sad. You literally took a tissue paper and you tried to clean your face up because it didn't feel like yourself, right?
no,
That's what you told me. I don't recognize myself in the mirror.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, in that, I'm extremely sure of myself. It was a marriage wedding day, right? The time where everyone looks at you. And of course, Mommy got to make a person. And I distinctly remember I got so mad. And not only did I get mad, I wiped off everything from my face. So I don't know how I looked on my wedding day, but it was a no makeup. I probably had lipstick on though. So I probably had some lipstick on, but that's it. Like, I was like, this is me. Like, I put lipstick and I feel great. And as I get older, I think I will need more lipstick and more blush. But you know what? Like, all my youth, I was absolutely sure I'm fine the way I was. And
And you are. That's a thing. You are.
yes,
You are fine the way you are. So that's a thing. Is like same roof, same parents, but a little bit of different parenting style, I would say, and different personalities. Like born this way, the influence we have had throughout our childhood and throughout adulthood made us the way we are. So yeah.
yeah. No, it was definitely great chatting. I think we should definitely do another topic on either arranged marriage or makeup and techniques. And because you are so good. I mean, you look polished. The kind of person in my head I want to be, I will never be because I will not make the effort. Like, I'm like, the idea that I put something and then I remove something,
It's
too
too much
much.
effort. You don't, it's not worth your time. That's a thing. For
No,
me, it is worth my time. Like even for this podcast, I have a tinted moisturizer on. I have a little bit of concealer on. As you can see, I have mascara on, a little bit of lip gloss, and that is my normal. I just feel confident. It's not like I don't feel confident without makeup, but it just feels like I put a little bit more effort. It's a kind of my self-care thing. It's like something I do for myself because I do so much at work. I do so much for the kid. I do so much for the husband. It's like, what do I do for myself on a daily basis? And
I
that
disagree with you. I disagree. I don't think that's your true motivation. You used to do it
what are you
when
trying to say? I am what's that word called?
I,
Narcissist?
I think you're just extroverted. This is the difference.
Okay.
This is the key.
Yeah,
You're extroverted. You like to show up. You like to
yeah,
attract attention.
yeah.
I'm
It's
introvert. I'm like,
I'm
you
a
know
Leo.
what?
I'm a typical Leo, right? I mean, that's what Leos are. I just like to live life big.
Large.
Like
Yeah.
it's large. It's like I just love these things about life. But yeah, it is what it is.
That's why this topic is so layered. I think another at least 30 minutes, definitely. So we're way over time. We're
Yeah.
41 minutes. I had no, like, I never anticipated. I thought like 15 minute stop is how a podcast gonna be. So hopefully it's interesting for anybody who listens to this.
And you can download this podcast anywhere podcast is available, Android, iPhone, and we will have the comment section. Feel free to leave your comments on what you think, what topics you would like us to cover, and we will do our best. So thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.